you go through and you just pick. when they just start to come on, and you go through, it's real intermittent. You get a few here, you get a few there, and God, you're out here. It seems forever, and you haven't gotten anything. But when they really have flowered and the beans are, in full growth spurt mode here, it's just amazing. You got a question or something with the...
Tell me what you've been thinking about while you're pulling beans.
Well, I like to, oftentimes I just think about what it is to be a farmer.
Yeah.
And what it means to, do this work. How much work it is, why people choose to do it, how important it is. And I think about, the people particularly who I've been selling produce to over the past 10 years, how important it is that they really support me as a local farm, and all the other local farmers. I feel pretty blessed to have a pretty strong group of supporters that I've cultivated over the years when I was doing the Coupeville and Oak Harbor Farmers Markets and CSA. But it is, farming is challenging. I think it's hugely rewarding, but it's also something that, people don't seem to, go into these days that much. It's a difficult profession to go into in terms of earning a living. It's just an incredible challenge to earn a living farming. Especially if you're, not at some really large scale, and a lot of us, really prefer to farm at smaller scale and not do monocropping, but diverse cropping. So it's just, one of the things I tend to think a lot about, and how to, how things actually might change as time goes on, and will people really begin to realize that we need to start changing our diets so we aren't so reliant on meat in our diets, and we don't have to produce so many monocrops as feed crops for livestock, that sort of thing. How are we going to farm in a more ecologically sustainable manner? And how are we going to feed a world that continues to increase in population? So there's lots of, really challenging questions around it all.
Yeah. Why did you start farming here?
So I retired in 2007, and almost a decade before then I started thinking about viticulture. My wife and I discovered Whidbey Island in 1980 when I was at the University of Washington, and I ended up taking a job back in the Midwest and worked for a company there for 25 years. But the goal was to try to get to an early retirement point and move back to the Northwest, particularly to Whidbey Island. I became interested in viticulture and was following the work of a fellow over at the Mount Vernon Research Center, and initially put in a small vineyard with Sigurave grapes and another grape that were on rootstock for this kind of set for this environment to try to ripen early. But the crash of 2008, 2009 came along, and it really got me rethinking that investing in, making wine and growing grapes wasn't the way to go. I wanted to do something agriculture related, and so I took the opportunity to participate in the first organic farm school program in 2009, and then slowly started up what really is a market garden operation here for me.
What do you like best about it?
Well, I really like growing things. From year to year, there's always a different challenge, and I always find myself saying next year, I really want to do it this way. I want it perfect. I've got to get this right. But from year to year, you're always going to hit snags, and so it's not going to be perfect. But you want to improve on. There might be a certain crop that just doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out this year, and next year you said this is how I'm going to do it differently. So I see if I can improve on that. I had tried growing this Romanesque cauliflower this year, and it just did not produce the way I'd hoped it would, and that's one that next year I'm going to try something different and see if we can get a little better result. Tyler at Oyster Catcher was interested in that, and we tried it. See if we can try it again for next year, and it'll do a little better. But I guess the other thing I really like is I did like doing the farmers markets. I liked interacting with the community, getting to know them, and but after 5 years or so of doing 2 markets a week, it just got to be a bit much as I'm not getting any younger, and being able to kind of keep up with it was becoming a bit of a health challenge, and so I thought I'd better start scaling back, and that's what I've been doing the past couple of years anyway, just scale back the focus of who I'm growing for and how much area I'm keeping under cultivation.
Tell me about these beans.
Oh, okay. This variety of bean is the Maxibel French Filet. It's a highly productive bean. I just like it because, they're, well, I guess I kind of fell in love with French Filet Beans some years ago when I did have the opportunity to travel in France, and they call them haricots verts. And they're just, if you get there at the right time of year, peak season for them, they're just delicious. And these are delicious beans. They're tender, they got great flavor. You can do a lot with them in different dishes. So I like growing them.
What's your favorite thing to grow?
Oh, that's a tough one.
What's your favorite crop?
Really a tough one. I think it varies almost from year to year by what's the most challenging. This year, carrots, for example. Carrots are just a great crop, and we grow a variety called Molcom that are just really, really sweet and delicious. And this year I changed from an unpelleted or uncoated seed to a coated seed, and I have a seeder, a Yang seeder, that uses these rollers. The rollers you change based on the seed size, and I just didn't choose to get the right setup on it the first few beds that I seeded this year, and they came out terrible. And it took me like three seedings to really dial in the change that I needed to make to the seeder. But I think I judge what I like to grow by the challenges that it poses, I suppose.
What do you think people could do to help support the local food system more?
I think that
what do we need?
People becoming aware of local sources of local food, for people to take an interest in finding local sources, be it a farm stand near where you live, or the online site like the Whidbey Island Grown Co-op Food Hub. To seek those things out and support them, support the local farmers markets, as much as they can. I think that's really important. We've got a lot of great farms here on Whidbey, and it's an incredible group of young farmers that are coming online, and so there's lots of product out there today, and there will be more, I'm sure, in the near future. So just being sure that they take their time to look for opportunities to purchase local food, and encourage their friends and neighbors to do the same. If you find a good place where you get things that you really like and enjoy, tell your friends and neighbors to go go see this farm stand, or get on this person's email list for a weekly fresh sheet, that sort of thing.
And you've been doing Whidbey Island Grown for a bunch of years. Do you want to talk a little more about Whidbey Island Grown and the idea behind it?
Sure. Whidbey Island Grown first started back in about 2008, 2009. And again, it was very farm-centric at the time. And we had a lot of support with the initial startup through NABC. Over the intervening 4 or 5 years after it first launched, we did have someone initially that kind of did all the legwork for the organization and kept people in communication and kept it moving forward. But when the funding for that person ran out, then the organization somewhat languished, and we didn't really develop a broad base at the time. In 2017, we relaunched the organization with a little bit broader focus, trying to pull in not just farms, but also those businesses, local businesses that link in with farms or with agritourism. And so we tried to expand the scope of the organization, and we grew in a few years up to over 100 members. But we still lacked, I think, a good focus. And last year, several of the members in the farm community really wanted to focus on creating a local food hub, and consider doing a buyer's cooperative for the farmers to help lower cost of operation, as well as eventually maybe establish a local food co-op store retail outlet here on Whidbey Island. And as they move forward with their thoughts on that, I felt it was extremely important that we marry that up with what we had been doing with Whidbey Island Grown, and I think it gave a real important focus for what we were trying to do, and that was an effort that was being really led by Kyle Flack and Stephen Williams with Foxtail Farm, and Shannon, yourself, along with a number of other folks. And it's I think it's really taking off now with the food hub, and we just got a lot of energy and enthusiasm, excitement going, and we just want to continue to build and push that forward.